Definitely a full house today. The board chair, Mr. Rakesh Ram, Board of Directors of TSLS, senior representatives from the higher education institutes, executives of Fiji Principal Association and head of schools, representatives from the Students Association, the CEO and staff of TSLS, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen, Bulavinaka, and a very good afternoon to each one of you. I hope you had a good session today. It's extremely important, in my view, that we need to be on the same page when it comes to staff recruitment, and particularly for scholarships and awards offered by TSLS. Our rules, in other words, TSLS criteria can be very different from what universities offer, or how they recruit students. So the systems are different, and we need to make sure that TSLS policies are well understood by different agencies. And once we understand the policy, that's when we can be sure that the students are not confused, we are not confused, and we all understand what the policy is all about. So when any policy is developed, first thing first, the policy needs to be taken to the people so that they understand the policy. Once they understand the policy, then only the intended purpose of the policy is realized. If we don't understand the policy, then we won't be able to achieve what we want to achieve. And same thing applies to TSLS scholarships and award. These awards and scholarships are given for a particular purpose, and that is really to build our human capacity, our workforce, so that we can develop a better Fiji for all of us. That's the whole intention. We want to create a knowledge-based economy, and for that, we need different skills, different qualifications, as well as different experiences. Some people may have studied abroad and they've come back and they want to pursue their studies further. What are the opportunities for them? So we need to pursue each and every aspect. But looking at the program, I do understand that it was an interesting day where you went through the policy itself, including the eligibility criteria, which is so very important, and also the awards and scholarships that are available for this current financial year. I must emphasize, ladies and gentlemen, the government's unwavering commitment towards education has been unprecedented. For the 2022-2023 academic year, Fiji First Government, through TSLS, will offer 9,200 awards, and that's quite a lot. And the value of these awards are 162.5 million. So it's not a small amount that we're talking about. It's a substantial sum. And we have to be sure that we recruit students who will be able to complete their journey. They'll be able to accomplish the qualification and not go halfway and then the money is wasted. So how do we select students so that they're able to complete that journey to attain the qualification? That becomes rather crucial from enrollment point of view, and also the support that they need during their tenure. They need to be supported. The students need to be guided. They need to be counseled so that they don't drop out halfway. So that's important. But let's talk about this $162.5 million. At the end of the day, this money is going to go, big chunk of money will go towards the higher education institutes for the service that you're going to provide. So from our perspective, from the government's perspective, we look forward to quality graduates, graduates who come out who can fit into work environment, whether it's private sector or public sector, or they can become entrepreneurs whatever they want to become, but they'll be able to contribute in a substantial way towards the development of our country. Apart from scholarship, and that takes me back to the days when we were at school, or you can say, when we came out of the school and we were looking for scholarship, the only scholarship we knew were from few governments. Either it was obviously always Australia, New Zealand, then Indian government used to offer scholarship. And if you don't get a scholarship, and if your parents are not rich, then the parents had to rely on FNPF. If they had FNPF, or forget it, you just have to start work or borrow money from elsewhere. So these options were not available. Now we have got all the options available for the students, and we simply want the students to make good use of it and not take it for granted that the money is there and let's get a scholarship and let's not bother about it. And at the end of the day, then we have a high failure rate. So the workshop organized today is a proactive approach to raise awareness with the key stakeholders. And there are plans by TSLS to create awareness with other stakeholders through different means. It's very important that we understand the rights and responsibilities of TSLS and the recipients of awards. If each one of them, they understand the obligation, then there will be no confusion. They'll understand things better, and there won't be many complaints coming either to me or through the CEO, or to the board chair. I mean, this is what happens whenever the enrollment starts. We see that the students write directly to me, to the Prime Minister, or to the CEO, simply complaining that, I was just short by 1 mark. In other words, you failed, but short by 1 mark, but why am I not given this particular award? And sometimes they are misguided by the institution that is enrolling them. For example, if you look at the cutoff mark, some institutions of a degree program, if they have 210 marks out of 400 in year 13, and they advise that you can go to TSLS and apply for loans. But our cutoff mark is 250. And that's where the student is disgruntled, the parents are upset, but this is how we were guided and why we are not getting the award. So I feel that today's session must have been a good one, and I hope when you leave this room we are on the same page and there is no confusion. You may have cleared all your confusion and doubts or assumptions you may have had. But I do suggest that if you have any query, it's better to get the advice from TSLS before it is dished out to the students, because they will not understand. They will simply say that, yes, we were advised by the university or from any higher institute, and therefore it's my right, I should be given that scholarship. But that requires a lot of awareness raising, and I understand this morning, e-community awareness handbook was launched, and it is a right step to disseminate information digitally. When we do that, then this information can reach out to everyone. Anyone who wants this information, they can get that information. They can read it on their own, and if they're not sure, again, they can contact the Higher Education Institute or they can contact TSLS. So, ladies and gentlemen, the regulations governing the scholarships and study loans will be available online after it is gazetted, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it on TSLS website. And it's important to understand that, because when these regulations were being developed, I found it quite interesting when there was a case we had to handle, and the case was more to do with the marks the student attained, and the student was of the view that I've got the right mark and therefore I should be given the scholarship. But when you go through the regulation, we start with the highest mark, and if the number is just 5, the first 5 will get it. That's all. And even in that situation, the explanation we had to give to the student was quite difficult, because he or she didn't want to listen and simply said that I must get the scholarship. So it's not just about the cutoff mark, but the number of awards available for a particular program. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to ensure that every stakeholder plays an active role in creating awareness. I would like to see that e-community awareness handbook is digitally shared with parent-teacher association, community leaders, village heads, and even with the education interest group. If we share this information widely, we'll be able to achieve what we are trying to achieve today, because I would call the awareness program that was held today as just the first layer, an important group of individuals who can contribute in awareness raising. But we need to go deeper and also reach out to various other groups where students are, or parents who are simply interested in finding out more about these scholarships and awards. Ladies and gentlemen, my second task this afternoon is to launch the revised strategic plan for TSLS. When we talk about strategic plan, we all know that for any organization, whether it's public or private, we must develop a strategic plan, because strategic plan clearly provides the roadmap of what needs to be done, and it must be understood by all members of the team. Each and every staff of the organization must understand the roadmap. And when this strategic plan is developed, it should be actionable. You can action it, and if it's actionable, then only you can execute. If it's just words with no action item in it, obviously it's a good story, but you won't be able to deliver. And delivering a strategic plan is very, very important. So when a strategic plan is developed, gone are the days when the strategic plan used to have a lot of verbosity, a lot of information, irrelevant sometimes, good story in it, but really at the end of the day, one could not identify what this organization really meant. And I'm glad that TSLS have revised the strategic plan, which can be easily understood by their staff, and one can also gauge the implementation of the strategic plan. With rebranding from board to service, we expect TSLS to champion service excellence. This can be achieved through customer experience feedbacks and surveys, and regular engagement with the student association and with the recipients of loans and scholarship. Often we see complaints in a very negative way, but in my personal view and my experience handling thousands of complaints in my previous job, I realized that it provides a useful information where you can challenge an organization, or you can change the policy so that the policy that was initially developed meets its intended purpose. Because when the policies are made, it's more about the problem and we're trying to look for a solution, and sometimes we're introducing a new idea. And when you introduce a new idea, you don't know where you're going. It can work, sometimes it might not work. And policies are man-made, no issues. So it needs to be reviewed and revised. But to be reviewed and revised, if you get the real opinions from the people who have experienced those policies, that's the best way to make that change. And I hope that TSLS will continue doing that. In this day and age, because we are serving the youths, and our youths, and particularly our young people, they prefer technology. They would like to do everything through technology. And if that is the way they like to do things, then definitely TSLS need to use ICT-enabled service delivery programs or portals. So ICT delivery service is essential in this day and age. While the online application portal is available, in our view, more needs to be done to modernize the IT infrastructure to improve the customer experience. I'm aware that work is in progress to develop a sophisticated online application and student management system with strong analytical features and online complaint mechanism. The end result of ICT transformation will provide a more convenient and transparent service delivery. Through a click of a button, TSLS will be able to get relevant information as and when needed. And that's how the system should be developed. TSLS is also in the process of developing TSLS app, which will further enhance customer experience. It is good to see that the strategic focus is, for the strategic plan is on governance, compliance, and assurance, which is often the case for any organization when they're developing a strategic plan. But for TSLS, it's extremely important that the focus got to be on compliance and assurance. And the reason being, they're handling large sum of money, which is taxpayers' money. So there has to be a high level of accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, to transform any organization, what you need is a forward-looking board. And with the help of the board, when the board and the management team, they understand one another and they are able to see the vision and understand the mission, then only we'll be able to accomplish what we are set to do. And if the vision of the board and the mission of the board is not well understood by the management team, then forget it. There'll be a lot of struggle for that organization, and you won't be able to achieve what is set out in the strategic plan. So I commend the current board for focusing on service excellence while transforming the institution to be future focused by adopting more ICT technologies. And my ministry will support the board in implementing the initiatives outlined in the strategic plan. I wish the board, the management team, and staff lots of success in this transformative journey. And it gives me great pleasure to launch the revised strategic plan today. And at the same time, I also officially close the workshop. And in doing so, I wish to thank the organizers, that is TSLS, the various speakers, and the attendees. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Vinaka.